so let's talk Illustrator 101. Excuse me, InDesign 101. Yikes. All right, so this is InDesign. And just like any other workspace in Adobe, you have your main screen where you have your recent documents. You've got like a whole list of recent documents here. So you can pull up your recent documents. You also have a quick design menu of things that you can pull up. Okay, and then you've got Create New and you've got Open. So most of the time, you're just going to click Create New. So for this particular little exercise, we're just going to create new. Now this should look a lot like Illustrator to you. So you've got your recent, you've got your saved, you've got your print. So saved, any document that you create, you can actually save it. So you can save a business card, you can save an envelope. So you have all of your own settings here. Then you've got your print. So tabloid, legal, just 8.5 by 14, 11 by 17, letter, and letter R. Okay. And so those are your basics. Then you've got your web setups, because you can actually do website kind of mocking up, and you've got mobile setups as well. All right. So we can go to print. We can click letter. Over here on the right-hand side, excuse me, is all your settings. So you can save the preset here. You can set up your sizes, okay, inches, how many pages you want, whether or not you want it facing pages, which we're going to go over momentarily, okay, the start number of the pages, how many columns, what you want for your margins, your bleed, okay, your slug, which we don't really do anymore. Slug is the area that you put custom job information, it says there. So basically what you used to do with a slug is it's an outer area of the document that if a printer opened up the file, it would have directions for them. No one really uses it anymore. Okay, you can click a preview button, which will preview the setup, okay, which is kind of nice. So this is one page, all right. If I click, and right now I'm just going to uncheck facing pages. So here's my one-page document. So I am going to add 4 pages to the document. Okay, and I'm going to click Create. So this is what a 4-page document looks like when you don't have facing pages. And it's just a simple thing. Now, if I was printing a booklet, though, this would be the front cover. Okay, this would be the back cover. You get the idea. So how your page is laid out are basically set up in that document. So if I go to File, New again, I'm up here, okay, or Command N. Now I'm going to have 4 pages, but I'm going to choose facing pages. And I click Create. Here's the difference. Okay, see that? So this actually, facing pages actually allows you to design based on your, like how you usually see it, if you will. So here's my cover, okay? Let me just add a little color here. So here's my cover, okay? Here would be page 1, all right? And here would be page 2. And then here would be the back cover. Okay. So in this one, page 1, page 2, page 3, back cover. So as a graphic designer, as a designer in general, you really like to have facing pages. It makes your layouts a lot easier to work with, especially doing multi-page documents. Right? And it allows you to design as though it was a spread. Okay. The thing to think about when doing multi-page documents like this, that you want to understand that everything has to be divisible by 4. So if you've got this one page, okay, this spread, every page has a spread. All right. So when this prints on the machine, this will print on one side of paper. This actually prints on the same sheet of paper. Okay. It just prints over here. I hope that kind of makes sense. So this would be where that page would actually print. Okay. So everything's divisible by 4. So you can have a 4-page document, but you cannot have a 5-page document. You can then have an 8-page document or a 12-page document or a 16-page document. So every time you want to add 1 page to your document, you got to add 4 pages. Just as a little bit of a kind of understanding. Okay. So let me go back to the start here. So we're doing a magazine spread. All right. So we're just going to create new. All right. And for now, we're going to just deal with just an 8.5, 11 document, 1 page, so we can talk a little bit about how to work in InDesign. We're not going to worry about anything with multiple pages or anything like that for now. So I've got my margins set up. Okay, for now, they're 1/2 inch. That's more than fine. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to show you some different things. So first and foremost is how do you type in InDesign? So it's over here, type tool, just like any other thing. Now you click and hold, you have 2 type tools. Just type on a path and you have the type tool. Okay, so there is no click to type in InDesign. You notice nothing happens. Okay, I have to click and make a box. And inside that box, I can type. Now here's where it's just like in Illustrator. So as I type, you'll notice that the type, okay, goes to the end of the box. Now, as I scale the box, okay, the type adjusts to fit the box. You can also click and hold for like a second, and you'll get a live preview, which is nice. Okay, but you'll see that it automatically goes. Now, once I have this little red box here, just like in Illustrator, this is telling me now that I've got a problem with my text. In other words, it's overflowing. Okay, so I can pull this down until I can see where it's going. Once I go up here, same thing, overflowing. So I can click and hold, and I can pull it down until it doesn't overflow. So that's how you type. To change your type, let me make this bigger. I'm going to go to my properties panel. Now, some of your panels might look different. Okay, this setup is under the Essentials setup, not the Essentials Classic. So depending on how you are, it's going to look a little different. Okay, but right now under the properties panel, I have my character. So I have it here. Okay, if you are Window Workspace Essentials Classic, you actually have it up here as well. Okay, you can actually change your character. If I highlight the type, you'll notice I can change the character up here, or I can change the character here. Okay, so I would suggest for this demonstration, go to your workspace and go to just Essentials so that you have the same setup that I have, just so it makes it easier. So now I can change my characters. So just like in Illustrator, I can go down, it'll give me a live preview. You'll notice on my window, it's giving me a live preview, and I can pick my type. Okay, so there's my giant type. This one is Antique Olive. All right, now, all right, I can also change the color. Okay, but if I try to change the color right now, you'll notice what will happen. So if the box is selected, but the type isn't, I'm going to change the color of the box. All right. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the type, and then I can go right here to my fill, and I can change the fill color. Okay? Just like an Illustrator has the fill. Now I'm going to tell you this right now. 99.9% of the time, you never want to stroke on type. Okay? It just does not work. Maybe on a headline, okay, maybe on something that that you might have huge, but generally speaking, there are so many other things you can do. So you want to stay away from stroking on type, okay? You want to just deal with the fill color. So that's how you change the fill. That's how you type. Now you've also got your paragraph options down here. I'm going to pull this way down for a second. So right now it's left. It's align left, align centered, align right, justify with last line left. See that? So that last line stays left. Let me unhighlight. Okay. Then I've got justify with the last line center, justify with the last line align right, full justified. Okay. Then I've got align towards the spine, and I've got align away from the spine. So those ones I don't use that often, but these justifications I will. Most of the time I like this one. Okay, now full justification, you're going to run into sometimes some different type issues, but we'll talk about that as we get into that. Okay, but that's how you change your alignment of your type is down here under paragraph. Okay, so you've got your character, you've got your size under character, so I can change my size right here under character. Okay, I can also adjust right here my tracking. All right, now tracking, if you don't remember, all right, is the space between characters. So here's my tracking, okay, and I'm going to spread it out. You'll notice that the letters start to get further away, further away, further away, further away, further away, okay? So if I go back to 0, see the difference? All right, so there's the tracking. So tracking will space out the between letters. Now, down here you also have some other options where you can actually change the vertical scale and the horizontal scale from letters. I would stay away from that. You want to find a font that fits your needs. Don't really manipulate this size too much or too often, okay? You also have a baseline shift, all right, and then you have, again, skew. Again, it's called false italic for a reason. If you don't have a font that doesn't have italic designed in it, then either find another font or don't italicize it, okay? Baseline shift basically allows you to shift up the baseline of the letter. See that? Which can be helpful when you're doing like a postscript or something like that. But again, what's really nice is you also have that right here. So you have superscript, okay, which, you know, if you wanted to do 1 1/3, okay. You have small caps, which it'll turn everything into all caps, but it'll be tiny, and then you have all caps. Okay, you also have underline and strike through. Again, as a graphic designer, most of the time I actually create my own line, my rule, but you can underline as well. Okay, that sort of manipulates the type. Okay, these might be hidden Okay, it might look like this, and if you see paragraph and not a lot of options, you can uncheck these and bring more options in. Okay, so that's kind of working with type, how to change the type, how to change the color of type, how to change the alignment of type, as well as working with the box. Okay, so let me get rid of that. Next question. Well, how do I bring images into InDesign? Okay. First and foremost, any image you bring into InDesign, if you do not embed it, and we generally don't embed images in InDesign, okay, you're going to place it in. So I would go to File, Place, or Command D. When I file place it on my desktop, I just have this picture of a puppy. Now I can click and bring it right in. Okay. You're going to notice that in the properties, if I click my little drop down here, my more options, okay, it's going to break down all these different options I can move. I can center, I can figure all these little areas that I want to mess around with, okay. I can also take a look at info, okay, and it'll tell me the PPI, okay, which is the pixels per inch in the image, all right, so it's only 96. Now you'll notice that as I shrink this, the effective PPI goes up, which means because I'm shrinking it, the image resolution of the image is actually going higher. Okay, the effective resolution of it, we'll get into that later. But okay, so it's File, Place, or Command D. Let me get rid of my info box after I get this guy in here. All right, I bring him in. I have him. Okay, now here's where it gets annoying in InDesign. Okay, basically, when you bring in an image, you have two things that you're looking at right now. You have the box the image is in, and then you have the image. And the best way I can demonstrate that is by adding a stroke to this image. Okay, let me make it something we can actually see. All right, so you'll notice that I have the image. All right, and I'm zooming out by Command minus, Command plus, Command minus. Okay, zooming in, zooming out. You'll notice I can hover over and I can move the whole thing. All right, I can scale the box. This is just grabbing it and scaling it. So if I wanted to crop this image just by scaling the box, I could do that. I can scale the box. I can scale the box till I can see the image. Okay? So when you first place an image in, it actually has a frame around it, a box around it. Now, okay, to adjust both at the same time, you would hold the Shift key and the Command key. So if I only hold the Shift key, I am simply going to adjust the box. Hit undo. Okay, but if I hold the Shift and the Command key, it will now scale both, as you see. Okay. Now, the other confusing part. When I highlight the image to move it around, do you see this sort of double circle here? You'll notice that when I hover over the double circle, it turns into a hand. Okay, so I can click and I can actually move the image inside the box. So why would you want to do that? Occasionally it's convenient to keep a box straight and then turn the image. Okay, so then I could take this and simply do this. Okay, but the most important thing is that when you place an image, which I'm going to do right here, and I drop this in, all right, now I currently have a frame to my box, to my image, which I can go like this. Okay, there's the image inside of it. And I have the image, okay, which can get a little confusing. When I want to rescale this, if I just double click on the corner, it'll zap it right to the corners of the image. And again, it's just Shift and Command. Now, if you just hit Command, you can do this, which you don't want to do, right? We don't want to make this puppy look like he's a mutant, okay? So now that I've got my image, I can hold Shift and Command, and I can place it in to wherever I need it, okay? So that's how you bring an image into InDesign, and that's how you bring text into InDesign, okay? Other elements of InDesign. We generally do not create artwork in InDesign. We do all of our artwork in Photoshop or in Illustrator, all right? You can create boxes, things like that that you might need. So you have a rectangle frame, and then you have a rectangle tool, okay? The rectangle frame can be used to fill, okay, with a color. Again, this works just like the shape tool. Both of them are exactly the same, all right, as they both function the same way. One is technically used to bring images. One is technically like this frame box is the one that you would use to bring images in, and the box is actually just to create shapes, the rectangle tool versus the rectangular frame tool. I use them both the same way, Okay, they both fill with color. So if you needed to create, an element at the bottom of your page to sort of tie everything in, you would do it like this. Okay, um, but we don't do artwork. Like there's a pencil tool and there's a pen tool, and you can use those for creating paths. So if I wanted to draw a path and then grab my type on a path tool, I could do that. Okay, and then I could type on a path. But you don't want to do a full piece of artwork in InDesign. It's a nightmare to do. Okay, you could create a quick star, create a quick shape, things like that. But generally speaking, 99% of the time, your artwork's going to want to get done in Illustrator. Okay, so that's how you bring type into Illustrator. That's how you work with type in Illustrator. Right? That's how you bring an image into InDesign. Into InDesign. That's how you bring an image into InDesign. Okay, these are the main components of what you're going to be doing. All right, in terms of laying out type. We're going to talk a little bit more about wrapping around things when we start to deal with the magazine project itself in that video. But this is the basics of working with InDesign. All right, how to use type, how to bring an image in, your document setup. We're going to get into more of an advanced document setup when we set up your magazines. All right, but this is how you use InDesign. So I would suggest trying to bring in an image, try to work with the type a little bit, see how it works, get a feel for it. There are many more advanced features. There are a ton of advanced features in InDesign, as there are in any Adobe program. But we're going to start off using the basics. And honestly, most of the time, the basics are what you're working with. You're working with bringing in type. You're working with an image. You're wrapping an image. You're doing that. All the creativity comes in your creation, in what you do. Okay. There's a lot of advanced features that you can use to create but they don't really change the layout. They just help you with workability and workflow. So if you've got any questions, let me know. The next video will go over how to set up the project.